for Simon. Cheers!
G'day, how are we all going tonight?
Good.
I'm just going to put this wine down. I'm not sure about this chair though. I think I might just put it on the floor. First of all, give yourselves a round of applause. I think it's deserved for making it down the unlit path, which is slightly dodgy to find this theatre, which looks like an old abattoir you're finding out in Community. But it's nice inside. It's great to be here tonight, guys. First of all, I want to talk a little bit of a story about when I was staying in an Airbnb in Paris. Just let me get my breath. I've been doing sound and video and running downstairs. It's hard at my size. So I was staying in this Airbnb and the host said to me, "Hey, Jeezy, Simon," in his accent, Simon, "do you want to come tonight to a dinner party with our friends?" I'm like, "Yeah, cool, open mind, let's do all these things, do things you wouldn't normally do." You know what this short of breath is? I had a cigarette, which I don't normally do. So the guy said to me, "Yeah, come to this dinner party." So cool, let's go to the dinner party, that'd be awesome. So I'm standing there at the dinner party, way out of my depth. I'm from Townsville, live in Alice Springs, in the city of Paris. Not my scene. So I'm sitting next to the buffet table, which is generally where I sit when I feel a bit uncomfortable. Funny that. But hang on, no fat jokes tonight. We're all better than that. I'm better than that, and you're better than that. So I'm going to try and refrain from using them. But anyways, come up to me and he said, "Oh, Simon, are you enjoying the party?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's great. This cheese is the best cheese I've ever eaten in my entire life. We have nothing like this in Australia at all." And at that point, he's looked at me, he's looked at the cheese, and he said to me in his French accent, "I'm going to offend any French people that are here tonight. No, no, Simon. That is not the cheese, that is the butter." So I had eaten about a kilo of butter. But I've got a travel tip for you if you're ever in Paris. I've eaten a lot of cheese in my life, and that is still the best cheese I've ever eaten in my entire life. It was great. I've got a 3.5-year-old, 4 if you ask him. I'm 4, Dad. Well, no, you're 3.5. Don't grow up too quick. And I've been thinking to myself about how do I help him develop positive relationships with women and men and just people in general, but specifically women. And so I've been thinking to myself, when was it that I started seeing women in a sexual way, if you will, or maybe even objectifying them just a little bit? Women, sorry guys. And so it's weird because it actually started for me in the fish and chip shop in Townsville. Bear with me. You know the fish and chip shop, you walk in and there's generally a couple of posters. One of the posters is of all the fish you can find in Australian waters. I don't know why they've got that, because you only have like 3 choices, but they've got that poster just in case you want to see what they look like before you eat them. But the poster I'm actually thinking about, which really started, which I have remembered, made me think about women in this way. And it's that poster of a woman in a leather bikini lying on a Harley Davidson like this, eating a Chico roll. And I don't know about you, but for me, that really started to awoke some feelings. And it was a bit weird because, you know, it's an attractive woman, but it's also a Chico roll, and which is a bit weird. But, you know, they're obviously going for that aspect that, you know, sex sells. But my problem came a bit later on when I started having dreams at night. And there were women in these dreams, which is good, but there was also Chico rolls. So I don't know if you can imagine, you know, you're having a drink and there's just like millions of Chico rolls coming at you and a woman and then Chico rolls. It's really off-putting and very confusing to a young bloke. Not only that, the only person I knew that ate Chico rolls was my mum. So that just made it even more awkward. And there's a sad bit to this story. At the fish and chip shop the other week, my 3.5-year-old asked for a Chico roll. So I had no idea what to do with that little event in my life at all. Who likes living in Alice Springs? I really actually like it. We get all this bad press in the eastern states, you know, it's all violence and it happens, like there is violence. But it's great. And there are a few little peculiarities, one of which is the size of this town. You see the same people everywhere, all the time. You guys have probably seen me at the shops. Someone has seen me at the shops. This is sick. Do I know you? But there are people, I see them at the shops, and there's people you develop relationships with, and they don't even know that you know them. It's like Andrea from the paper. I had been interviewed by her about 3 times before she even knew who I was in real life, but I knew who she was. And it's really weird. And there was this other time, I was at Epilogue the other night, and we were doing an open mic night, and a woman came up, her name was Emma. And she came up and said, oh, I need to know who to talk to about the open mic night for an interview. So, okay, Emma, just stop there. We don't need to introduce ourselves. I already know you. I know you used to work at the CLC. I know you now work at the ABC, drive a green Forester, and your partner is Dave. And she looked at me like, hang on, you a stalker? And it's like, well, kind of, I guess. But I just see you everywhere, and I know just by other friends who you are. Anyway, it was a bit awkward. And the most awkward thing about it is what I call accidentally stalking someone. Emphasis on the accidentally. And it happened to me the other week. I was at, where was I? I was at Coles. I go to Coles, don't go to Woolies. I know you might go to Woolies, but I find it really hard to get past Wendy's. Hey, Fat Joe, come on, we're above that. It's just a guaranteed laugh, it's too easy. So you go to Woolies, I go to Coles, can't go to Woolies, we've established that. And there's this girl at Coles that I always see, and I've labelled her the cute girl from Coles. Anyway, one Friday night I was there, and I can't talk to her, it's a bit weird, I'm just going to go on with my night. At that stage, just walked down to Monty's, having a few beers with some friends, and she's there again. This time, she's not in her uniform, which explains why I always hear her Coles. And she was there again, so do I talk to her now? Oh, it's a bit scary. I've had a few too many beers. I'll say something stupid like I'm a stalker. And anyway, so at about 1 o'clock I've decided, look, it's time to go home. It's time to wind up the night. I'm leaving Monty's. And I shit you not, she was walking down the Todd Mall like 20 metres in front of me. And at that stage, there's a few things that can go through your mind about how do I deal with this situation? Because from her perspective, I could be a stalker. Like, it's completely justified that she thinks I've followed her from work to the pub, and now I'm following her home, which I wasn't actually doing. So in my mind, I'm like, well, what could I do? I could yell out, Bianca, I'm not a stalker, which is probably exactly what a stalker would say. The other option was to, because she's coming down Todd Mall, obviously towards East Side, obviously. And so I thought, well, if I can try and get around the block, like in front of her, and go really quick, I can move quick sometimes, just not downstairs from like 20 metres away, but I can, and get in front of her. But what happens if I time my run a little bit badly and run into her head on? From her perspective, I've followed her home, disappeared for 5 minutes, and then reappeared bang in front of her. Which is not the idea I'm going for, because I'm not actually a stalker. But at this stage, maybe I am, I don't know. I don't know what's going on right now. Oh really? That's good. What is that? We're bleeding for comedy, guys. We started this way. Yes! I can own that shit. I've never played footy and I feel really tough right now. This is great. Just let me have a drink here. I didn't even hit myself that hard. Must have been those little head spins I got from the cigarette. So the only option I could come up with was to sit in the middle of Todd Mall and face the other direction and wait exactly 23 minutes, because that's how long it takes her to get home to 55 Giles Street East Side. Thanks guys, that's actually for me tonight. Thanks to Red Hot Comedy for putting this night on. Thanks to you guys for coming, and we can welcome back John to the stage. Thank you.
Give it up for Simon. Cheers, guys. Woo!
Hey, I think we're going to have to put a claim in our public liability now. That's a classic. Stalking is a problem. So I've heard. I don't know. It's never happened to me.